Hi everyone, welcome back to Cayman Heritage Guide. Today we have a very exciting guest, Mr. Deal Ebanks, who is going to be showing us how he makes his gigs, the step-by-step process of how to make a gig. A gig is kind of like a top, and it is a thicker at the top, skinnier at the bottom, kind of cone-shaped or cylinder-shaped toy, I guess you could call it, that Caymanian people used to make for entertainment and games and kind of like used as a toy. It's made out of wood, but you polish it, and he's going to be showing us his process on how he makes that. So we hope that you guys enjoy this video. Don't forget to subscribe to Cayman Heritage Guide and follow us on Instagram at Cayman Heritage Guide to be notified every time we post a new video on YouTube or just educational content throughout the week. I hope you like this video, and we'll see you in our next one. Bye.
Hi, my name is Deal Ebanks, and it's a pleasure to finally get someone to video me making the gigs and the process of making a gig, and hopefully we can go with this today and get a good video so that it can teach a lot of people just the simple little art of making your own fun toys. Back in the day, like how we used to have to do, in case we needed entertainment, we had to make it. So moving forward, I would just basically give you an idea of the different tools that I may incorporate into making my gig. I have a decent sized machete like this, medium size, almost like a butcher knife, and I seldom use this, but my favorite tool to work with, and which I carry with me most of the time, is my good old buck knife. These things here are perfect for the wood carving that I do, and because it's a rigid knife, a nice knife to work with. I can just go right on into how to make a gig. One of our favorite woods to work with is our guava wood. And I want to give kudos to the folks that called me up, and when they got guava wood or any kind of hardwoods around their house that they're trimming, I gladly take the pieces of wood and carve them into gigs. Mr. Jimmy Powell gave me this one. Thank you, Mr. Jimmy. First we start off with a piece of wood looking like this, and then we take it to a point looking like that, and then we would do the other end the same way, and then we'll end up with two pieces like that, and then we cut them in half, and we got our gigs to work on. I usually just start off with just to give you all a quick demonstration of how it works. I get my piece of wood like this. I try to peel it off of all the skin or the bark, as you may say, and find out how round the wood is, and I round it up as before I start to really shape any gig out of it, because of it gives me a better start on a good round gig. So start off by getting your wood as round as you can. Guava wood was the wood of choice because there was so much of it, and it's a good, hard, durable wood. It does not crack easy, or does not split easy, and don't care how you hit it, it's pretty difficult to pop it open. And making gigs was an art, and we needed special shapes and designs for special places that we were even playing gigs at. Sometimes when you play gigs in a sandy road like old boggy sand road, your nails and your gigs had to be a little longer because there was more sand to deal with. And then when you're playing gigs up there in Goat Yard, right up the street, by Turtle Farm and around the corner by Super C's, and right there was another famous site for gig playing here in the West Bay area, and those gigs didn't have as long a nail most of the time because they didn't really need it. They were playing on rock. Okay, I look at it like this, and I feel the wood. A lot of people don't realize you do this thing for a long time, and you learn to feel mostly. You don't have to look at the wood as much. You can feel when it's round and where it's irregular sessions in it, you know. So now I'm going to take in, once I shaped it and got it to a point where it's nice and round, I'm going to continue to just take the bark off up a little higher. And I'm going to show you all how I go through to get a point on it. It should only take about 15, 10, 5 minutes, depends on how good this machete cuts. Always be sure that your tools are sharp. You don't want to get cut by a dull knife, and you will get cut with a dull knife quicker than with a sharp knife. A dull knife is not good to work with, so be sure that your knives and tools are sharpened. And just so you all would know, most time I always have a file on hand, and I just take and rub it down like that to keep a good edge on there, and you keep these knives sharp. Okay. Oh, look at that nice guava. Most of the wood have unique smells. You can smell, this one smells like a mild guava smell. Okay, I'm getting ready to put the point on it. You don't have to do it hard. It's better to do a lot of small strokes than one or two big ones. Because if you miss on a big one, you mess up a lot of things. It's harder to correct it, and you spend more time fixing your damage that you've done. So try to control most of the strokes that you do, or all the strokes that you do, so that you don't be hitting too hard. A good sharp knife. This wood is harder than you might think, and it's still a little green, which we used to always have the good green one that is heavier and easier to carve, because it's a lot wetter. As it gets drier, it gets even harder, more brittle. As you can see, you have to have a little time on your hands to do these toys, but of course you got up early in the morning and you did your chores, then you go and make your little toys. You spend 2 or 3 hours early in the morning, get yourself a little gig going, because you can hear the other guys already got theirs. Turned out to be a nice one. See how it's getting to a point now? When you see me stop like that, is because I'm giving myself a little break from my hands. Holding that knife, like I said, it's even though I do this often, and my muscles are used to it, the certain muscles I use, they get tired. I don't know, my children sometimes say that you gotta fix your mouth a certain way, Dad. How come you got your mouth like that? It's coming down good now. I don't know if this should have been silent. two things I can do multitasking is make a gig on top. All right, we're getting it down to a point now that the next stage would be to cut that off, and usually I would get a regular old saw like this, and we will cut it off about that high, so you give you good room to make a decent gig out of it still. And when I'm looking at it like this, I see where I got to do a little more work on it. Try to get it where the tip is in the center. See that little heart right there? That little small brown spot? That's the heart of the guava wood. And the smaller or denser the heart is, the better the wood is for making gigs. That guava got a good small heart. In most cases anyway. There's a lot of other woods that wouldn't work as good for gigs too. People ask sometimes about ironwood. Have you ever made any other ironwood? Yes, I have. And some of the characteristics of the ironwood is it's hard if you hit it down straight like that, but if you hit it like this in there, it will pop right open. Even when you spin your gig, it'll pop open on you because of the pressure the gig puts on the wood itself, the nail. She looks pretty good now. I can fine tune it with my pocket knife now. I'm finished with this tool. And then I would take in a always good to have an extra knife to sharpen good, I hope. You take off all the little rough edges with your pocket knife here. Then we would cut it right about, like I said, about right there, give us room to work. Once you cut that off, you would get something like this. And I was working on this one for a while. And you keep on just cutting away on it. Like that. And it takes a good while. So you fine tune all the edges like that. When you holding your gig like this, that hurts your finger right there. So you take your time and you go around and you take the edges off of the gig. Right there like that. That was just a little tip that make gig making a little more comfortable. Now, so when you hold it like that and you cut on it, it's not as, you know, uncomfortable for your hand. This one here is mahogany. You can see what I was telling you about a dense wood. The heart is really a big heart that is solid and dense, not like a sea grape tree that has a hole for the heart, a hollow spot almost. Okay, when you get the gig down to that point here, you can say, okay, do I want to round the top or do I want to leave the top pointed? You start to find out what actual shape your gig is going to come out like. Just to let you know a little bit about my artwork and so on. My gigs are numbered, and these are a special collection from Hurricane Island. This is number 90. It's a guava gig with a round pedestal. 884 days after Ivan. 884 AI, and I signed each piece. And that was, I guess, not too long after. That was about 2.5 years after Ivan, so about 2006, 2007 when I made this one. All right. You work on the gig like this, and you shape it to the shape that you want. And just looking at this one, I would say this one would be very similar to this one here on top, and similar in shape to that. I would make this one into a house gig. The heart of the mahogany is nice and red and solid, so the nail would be pretty tough, and then it wouldn't hurt your marble or tile floor. The gig spends a long time on those shiny, low resistant type surfaces. So for the sake of time, I would probably, to get this gig down to this point right here, it'll probably take me about 2.5 hours of carving with my knife. So I'm going to proceed at this point to this one. Just say that this gig was like this, and instead of cutting a nail into this one and making it a house gig, I'm going to show you all how to make the traditional gig with the long metal nail that we would use for plugging. I'm going to fine tune this a little bit, shape it up. You can see these two sort of progressed in stages like that. So now I'm trying to get it all smooth, and the smoother your gig is when you're plugging, the less chance that you get it busted open, as the nail of the other opponent's gig would slide off of you, the wood, a lot easier. But if you got a rough surface, it can find a way to dig in deep and split your gig open. So, okay, that's a pretty good gig there. That looks decent. We can work with that. Instead of that hand auger, I got some of these modern tools, make work a lot easier. Cordless drill, that's a good invention. And I get out my drill bit. I need to do two things. Sort of figure out what size nail you want in your gig. The bigger the nail, the bigger the gig should be. So I think I might go with the shorter, smaller nail in this case. And so I find the drill bit that goes with this. I get the drill bit that's smaller than the nail by a little bit, so that the nail can fit nice and tight inside the gig. Alright, so I just then and I center it in there. This is a little tricky part. You gotta get it going in there straight. I mess up a lot of times on that one. Sometimes the wood has a hard spot and the bit rides off. up a lot of times on that. Sometimes the wood has a hard spot and the bit rides off. So it's not that bad. I think that's just I didn't round the gig off that good. But it'll work. Okay, that's that stage. And then I stick the nail in. I got an idea how far it's in there. Right there. So I cut the nail off. I measure it. If it goes in that far and I need that far sticking out, then I will cut the nail off here in a minute. That's what the file is about. So I cut the file off. Use the file to cut the gig off, the nail off about right here. That's a good size thing. You make a groove into your nail like that. And then you can break it off. You bend it, it should break. Like that. I want to show you something a while before we leave. You see how this gig, the nail is on an angle, right? She don't spin nice and steady. What I got to do is to bend that nail to get it in the center point. And what we would do usually, stick it between some wood. And the nails nowadays are soft. And see, I bent it. You can see it there where it's bent. So the gig should spin a little better in my hand. It's not going to jump around as much because the gig is balanced. Yeah, she's much better. Alright, that's your fun toy for today. A Cayman gig, a Cayman ting. Make your own. Come and talk to me and I will take and bust it open for you.